Bienvenidos al Cinematógrafo. Hoy tenemos el agrado de invitarlos a un programa muy especial.
Es especial porque nos encontramos con un director inglés que ha trabajado al lado de uno de los grandes pensadores de nuestro tiempo, que es Jacques-Luc Nancy, y en particular en la película de la que vamos a hablar, que es Men of Harlem, film que está en el Bafisi en una de las competencias. Con él nos encontramos, hablamos de su película.
Yo creo que es un lujo. Mira, así arrancamos.
Sumptuous coat, scaly leather, undreamt of luxuries, massive luxuriance radiating figures of an old mystery.
Hold that tiger, and I hope those ropes do. Here's photographic proof of why Mabel Stark has ruled supreme for 33 years as the world's only woman tiger trainer. But as she says, there is no such thing as a tamed wild animal. Perfect balance, but one false step by this beast and they'll be calling an ambulance for Mabel. Even Mabel admits you can't trust a tiger. As she puts it, I have to know what they're thinking.
Men of Harlem es probablemente una de las películas más fascinantes que se hicieron en el último año y en este periodo. Va a llegar ahora al Bafisi, acá estamos en el FICUNAM, la película estuvo en competencia y es una película fuera estrictamente de lo común, porque al menos que yo sepa, ninguna persona, ningún sujeto vive en su casa con un cocodrilo, literalmente, y con un tigre de Bengala. La historia que cuenta Philip es precisamente esta, la historia de un hombre que vivió literalmente y reconstruye esa experiencia y le va dando matices a partir, por un lado, de una cita que arranca de Jacques Derrida y posteriormente también matizando y contextualizando un texto de Jean-Luc Nancy, es decir, dos filósofos muy importantes que han pensado a fondo el devenir animal de los hombres o la animalidad en general. Y a partir de esto, Philip hizo esta película. First of all, it's such a pleasure to have you here.
My pleasure.
And the other day we were talking together for a while, and you told me that at the moment that this situation, which is unusual, of course, was on the TV, I think CNN. You
2003.
got to know.
Yes, that's
so
right.
from the moment in 2003 that you got to know,
Yeah.
how do you start thinking to make a film about this guy with the animals?
For a long time, you don't actually, and you're just haunted by what you saw. And I find it really fascinating when memories persist, and somehow they don't leave you alone. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, I started to develop and become interested in writing and thinking around the space of the apartment and how the constituents of what might be a family unit, or even the violence of the family unit, you know, the potential violence it holds. Thinking back on this story, still wondering whether such a thing could even exist, then I started to, then you kick in and you start doing research, making contact with people, finding out who's still around, what exactly happened. And in that process, there's so many different, news reports. Nothing ever ties up, nothing corresponds with anything else. It just became a mythology. So the film became a way for me to kind of clarify as much as possible through direct contact.
How did you get to him?
Now let's see, that's a good question. It took a while, that's for sure, but I think we simply, went through a contact that took us towards him. But, it's not something I even really remember. He's got a campaign. He still has a campaign, and that's that he still wants his tiger back. Even now, 10 years after, he's still campaigning the Return of Ming campaign. And being a campaigner myself, I really understand where he's coming from. So we found him through this website where he's trying to backtrack and still insisting that nothing was wrong.
When you explained the film, how it would be, how was his reaction? He accepted, or he was skeptical? Or?
He was very open to it, and fair enough, the condition was, what kind of film are you making here? What is the project? And I think if it had been an explicitly commercial film, he would have been more reluctant. But with the kind of way we were framing the project, and also that it wasn't about interrogating him, becoming judge and jury on what he did, he was very open and happy to do it. He hasn't seen the film, however, so he might change his mind. We'll see.
Movie joint, movie. Yeah, like a documentary joint, a doc joint.
But because it's quite clear that, of course, it's clear that the point of view that the way that you approach to him, it's not judgmental. You just explore, and it's quite clear that you have a kind of tenderness towards the character and what he has lived. I was wondering, like, on one hand, you have decided. Although that you have decided to show that some people who have some suspicions that maybe he's mentally unhealthy, and you put that in a certain moment enough that we viewers must know, and then also with the juridical process, I think.
Yes.
There was more material on that.
Not really. I mean, for me, the thing that underscores the whole sort of circumstance is the mythologizing that's still happening. And I think in Antoine's recollection, he's still mythologizing. But there was a certain amount of photographic evidence of the space that is slightly at odds with the way he's describing things, but not entirely. So I felt that it was very important that we elaborate on both aspects, but without kind of, it being about taking a position relative to things. And I'm really passionate about this idea that the avoidance of the particularity and that kind of opening up of a channel, if you like, for a number of perspectives on something is really important to give the film a sort of sense.
Apollo, when this event happened, October the 3rd, that's the first time him even being enclosed, being in a cage, because that's directly where he went, and that's directly where I went. So that's the first time me and him ever been inside a cage or felt like we restrained now. A few times I might have made a mistake and stepped on his tail, and he gave me more of a rap, but it wasn't that roar, it wasn't a big growl or anything.
You work in a it's not typical your approach to the subject, Anton. You don't interview him, he's in the back of a car.
Yeah, he's riding.
Yes. But you keep like almost, it is not enough screen, but almost. Why that decision? Another director would have been talking to him and trying to bring something up that nobody knows. But you were so not distant, but extremely respectful. Why that kind of approach?
Well, I think partly, I want to channel people's representation of themselves in some way, and as a viewer, we make judgments on things as we watch them, as we read them. So for me it was just very important to think about Antoine, not Antoine relative to myself as a filmmaker, but Antoine relative to the return to the neighborhood, the evocation he might help us with around the subject, and his ideas on, quite philosophical ideas on animality, community, and a kind of secret love. And I felt that if it was driven by an agenda, a filmmaker's agenda, that would in a certain sense, drive it away from it being something that for him is much more mystical and faith-driven. And that's not something I really understand. So I'm very careful, I think, in all of the films, to almost, as it were, try to make sure that if the person is the subject of the film, that they are driving the way we go with it, rather than me saying, okay, now I want you to do this, and a Q&A and an interrogative form. It's just, there's enough films already doing that.
Yes.
And I'm much more interested, I think, in the portrait on a certain level, that kind of portrayal and that kind of channel.
See, I like to find these little hidden pockets here, you know, because if you don't find these hidden pockets, how can you ever find that little crack to escape? You gotta see these cracks, man. You know what I mean? And that, to see these cracks is just, it's divine almost. Yeah, because what else you have here? If you're walking around ground level, then this is what you get, ground level thing. So if you up there, you closer to the side, you got no other choice but to look higher. If you look down, you can't see things too clear. You look up, you're right closer, so you know, that's one of them divine things, you know what I mean? So that's how you really, you know, you gotta always strive for it, always.
Acordate que si te querés comunicar con nosotros, estamos en Facebook y nos encontrás como el Cinematógrafo programa de televisión. Y si te parece algún programa, también los colgamos en la web, los buscás en YouTube como el Cinematógrafo TV. Quiero hacer un agradecimiento muy especial a Belén Fontana, que es quien nos maquilla, la encontrás en Facebook, así como Belén Fontana, y a Tienda Sixo, que es quien viste a Roger. Y ahora te invito a que sigas con nosotros en el Cinematógrafo, porque continúa la segunda parte de la entrevista que le hace Roger a Philip Warner. Es un cineasta inglés. Bueno, vos ya viste la primera parte, no te podés perder, porque acá hace un resumen, un raconto especial de toda su obra. Mira.
Ley de Promoción del Trabajo Registrado. En 2015, asignamos 4.100 millones de pesos para estimular a las empresas que tengan registrados a todos sus trabajadores. Sí, escuchaste bien. Este beneficio incluye a los 300.000 empleadores de microempresas, que son nada menos que la mitad del total de los empleadores del país. Estas empresas pagan por cada trabajador y en forma permanente el 50% de las contribuciones patronales y tienen un descuento similar en el seguro por riesgos del trabajo. La norma también contempla estímulos diferenciales a la contratación de nuevos trabajadores en las pequeñas y medianas empresas. Más información en www.trabajo.gov.ar, porque nuevas reglas es más beneficios, más derechos y más inclusión.
¿Te acordás que hace poco te contamos que los consumidores íbamos a estar mucho más protegidos? Es porque ya implementamos un nuevo sistema de solución de conflictos. Si tuviste problemas con algo que compraste o con un servicio que contrataste y la empresa no te dio una respuesta adecuada, ahora tenés Consumo Protegido. ¿Cómo funciona? Te comunicas con Consumo Protegido y vas a una conciliación donde la empresa, vos y un conciliador van a buscar llegar a un acuerdo para solucionar tu problema. Es gratis para vos y obligatorio para la empresa. Y como el conciliador es especialista en temas de consumo, no hace falta que vayas con un abogado. ¿Viste qué fácil? Los consumidores ya estamos más protegidos. Más información al 0800-666-1518 o www.consumoprotegido.gov.ar. Consumo Protegido, siempre de tu lado.
En todo el país, con una respuesta para cada necesidad. Auto, moto, hogar, praxis, caución. Triunfo Vida Más. Triunfo Seguros. Humberto Primo 630, Complejo Capitalinas, Córdoba, 0810-333-3838, triunfoseguros.com.
Comprar en 12 cuotas sin interés. ¿A quién no le gusta? Está bueno. Por eso en 2014, vos, yo, todos volvimos a comprar en 12 cuotas sin interés con tarjeta de crédito de la mano del Estado Nacional. ¿Y sabes qué? En 2015, ahora 12, sigue creciendo para que la industria se siga desarrollando, la inversión aumente, vos te puedas comprar lo que querés y para que haya más trabajo para todos los argentinos. Con Ahora 12 podés comprar un montón de cosas para la casa, para viajar, para vestirte, para descansar. Y en 2015 se suman nuevos rubros: útiles escolares, libros, anteojos para leer con receta, colchones. De la mano de Ahora 12 ya se realizaron 5 millones de operaciones y hay más de 110.000 comercios adheridos en todo el país. Ya sabes, vos podés comprar lo que quieras en 12 cuotas sin interés y el Estado te lo financia. Así, la actividad comercial e industrial también se favorecen. Busca el cartel identificatorio en los comercios adheridos, porque con consumo y producción, Argentina crece.